All right, we're live. Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. It is Sunday night. It is other side of the selfie time. Give you 30 seconds to catch up with us here. I think I might be just a slight bit early in my start. It says 7:59. Oh, just turned 8 o'clock, so we're in good shape. So I am excited for our guest tonight, and just for those who might be new to the show, just want to let you know what Other Side of the Selfie is all about. Basically, our goal is to educate, support, give advice, all that kind of stuff for other husbands, other guys, other people in the lives of women, mostly women who are involved in any sort of multi-level network marketing, whatever you might want to call it. And tonight I have an interesting kind of twist to that, because most times it is husbands or boyfriends or fiancés or whatever that we have on here talking about how they impact and how they help their spouses or girlfriend. And today we've got Brian Kilpatrick, who is actually the father of Jen Hensley, who's a unique presenter. And so we're kind of getting a little bit of a twist tonight from a father instead of from a husband or significant other. So I'm excited to see what we have and how it goes. So welcome, Brian.
Thank you.
If you would like, why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about who you are, where you are, how you got connected into this crazy world of multi-level marketing, and then we'll jump right in.
Okay, great. Hey, everyone. My name is Brian Kilpatrick. Some of you that have tuned in obviously may know me as YDad. That's kind of what I'm trying to build right now. Right now we live in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Joined the military right out of high school and spent 21 years in. Actually retired back to Cincinnati and have three children through a blended marriage right now. My son Rob, my daughter Jen, and my wife Leanne's son Alex, who's currently a junior at OU there in Ohio. So we obviously do not have any family with us right now, and it's given me a lot more time to work this business with my daughter. But as a result of being in the military, I had the privilege to travel around quite a bit. I've visited or lived in 47 of the 50 states, as well as
Wow.
most of Southwest Asia and a couple of countries in Europe. So I travel fairly extensively through the Caribbean for vacations and whatnot now. So, um, with all of that, I've just had the privilege of seeing some things and doing some things that uh, want to help me further my cause with helping the women of Unique.
Awesome. And so you were, I think you told me, 20 plus years in the military, and that's what kind of got you
Correct.
around.
Correct. Yeah, I was an air traffic controller in the Air Force for about 15 of those years, but I was in a total of 21 years. And like as I said, I've traveled all over the place and lived all over the place, which is part of the story that I'll be telling here in a little bit.
Sure, sure. So why don't we start with that? So I know, typically what we have on here, like I said, is husbands and boyfriends, significant others, whatever. And obviously you're a dad of a network marketer here in Unique. So tell us kind of how that got started. Maybe a little bit about how long Jen has been involved in Unique, and then just kind of how it happened that you kind of became the Y dad, I guess.
Sure, sure. My daughter actually started her journey in Unique in March of 2015. She came to me and to tell me that she was joining this network marketing and what I thought about it. I had some previous experience with network marketing that didn't necessarily go as well as some of what I'm seeing now. So I was very guarded to start with, um, but I felt like I needed to support her. So I was on board to support her with whatever she wanted to do, but I had no means to become involved to the level that I am now. It was merely to motivate her to continue to do better, whether that was with this business or anything else that she chose to do. So that's where we started. Um, about 3 months after that, June, I guess, is when I really started to become involved. Megan Dashley, who is her upline Black Status 1 now. Um, I've gotten to know her and Christina McKeon very well as their husbands Jeremy and Jesse, and was invited to be a part of the men's panel at their first Cincinnati training. That really wanted to get me on board, but someone during the course of that time said, "As much as you're trying to help out, you're like our YDad." So that kind of clicked in my head that this is a great opportunity. Um, so I was going along and helping my daughter as well as I could, and then I started getting messages from other ladies saying, "Thank you so much for doing what you're doing." As a father, it's refreshing to see, because either we don't have the support of our family, or my father is no longer with us. Different things like that, and it really got to me, and I started to think that this is really something that I could support, not just my daughter, but several other people, and it is just has grown exponentially from there. So my why for starting is those two reasons, and that's what keeps me motivated.
That's really cool. So you mentioned that some of these other ladies that are in Unique kind of reached out to you, and obviously those that may not have a dad or lost a dad or something like that is one thing, but those that were kind of in the scenario where they weren't necessarily getting the support that they wanted or needed, what was maybe some of the reasoning behind that, and then how did you respond, and then kind of what have you done to help in there?
Matt, I think it's a natural response for parents from my generation anyway, when you try to see what network marketing is all about. Maybe there's not as much infatuation with it, solely because network marketing kind of got a bad name back in the day.
Sure.
With the advent of Unique and some of the other network marketing businesses that are really taking off now, I feel that maybe the parents just they're misinformed, or they don't desire to learn enough about it. What I felt was that this is where I needed to step in. So there's I've not really encountered any other parents face to face. I've had some interactions with a couple, but I just felt like it was my position to kind of step in and fill that role for the women that didn't have that support. Yeah. And it's, as I said, it's really benefited me well. The ladies have accepted me and appreciate what I'm doing, and I just have a passion for it now.
That's really cool, and I love seeing. I know you've got the YDad page, so for those who are interested, you can certainly go follow him on Facebook. Just type in YDad, all one word, the letter Y, DAD, to find Brian, and certainly you can connect with him personally and all that. I assume that's all fine to push that out.
Definitely so. I appreciate all the likes, follows, shares, and friend requests.
So some of the things that you put out there, I know, as I've been connected with you now here for, it's only been a few weeks, but I think, I see each day you're putting stuff out there. So tell me a little bit about, or tell the audience a little bit about, what are some of the things that you do on a regular basis to put that support out there? Let's start with the big group, the bigger group, and then maybe let's talk a little bit about what you do specifically with your daughter.
Okay. I basically, as YDad, what I try to do is come up with a topic that's relatable to everyone, whether it's Unique or anyone else network marketing affiliated, that would be relatable to them, and maybe give them a little bit more desire and passion for that given day to concentrate and work on some specific aspect of their business that's going to benefit them long term. For instance, today, because we're in the final countdown, the week of March, everyone's pushing now for promotions. Everyone's trying to reach that certain incentive that they've been working all month for. I just feel like I need to provide relatable material that will allow them to concentrate a little bit more. today's lesson, for example, was more about the goal is great, but concentrate on what you're doing to get there.
Mm.
Because as we all know, this is a team effort. This isn't one person working to get yourself to a certain level. It all involves everyone underneath you. And I think the more that you prop your team up, the better opportunity you have to grow. And that's what I love about this business.
Outstanding. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I know you do like motivational quotes and things like that. Do you also maybe send some of the ladies like personal messaging or something just as notes of encouragement, that kind of thing?
You know, I do. I actually am a member of between 12 and 15 personal groups that the ladies have actually come to me and said, hey, do you mind if I add you to my group? I'll provide them basically specific information as to what's going on in that group. I'll concentrate something specific on that.
Gotcha.
But I shout out girls and motivate them throughout the day, every day. Probably between 100 and 150 posts a day.
Wow.
Uh, as as little as congratulations for something that they've done, or as big as a couple of paragraphs to kind of explain what I feel they could be doing that may benefit them even better.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. And what have you seen so far has been that response from them on the other side?
You know, it's funny that you mention that, because there are a couple of examples, and I won't call out any names, but I'll just tell you that there are women out there that don't understand or don't know the potential that they have. They concentrate on a goal that may or may not be a little less than what they're capable of. I see that, and I kind of pounce on the opportunity to tell them, hey, you've got an opportunity here to go a level higher than what you thought you were going to. And it's happening right now. So I know that it's an every month thing, and I can't catch every one.
Sure.
But I will say, and I'll thank my daughter Jen publicly here, because she has obviously given me full access to her back office. And that's something pretty special, because not every person wants their dad to know how they're doing or what they're
Right.
making or all that stuff. But it allows me to dive down maybe a little deeper than what she can, because when you have a team of that size, it's hard to see everyone.
Sure.
And I like to see that, and I like to think that either myself or her husband Dustin, with those extra sets of eyes, it allows her to see things that maybe she doesn't see.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that. So you have full access to her back office. It's called Unique, and I'm sure there's some other words, names for it in other network marketing. But you get to see her team. You get to see where they are. You get to see where she is specifically, where her finances, where who's
Correct.
doing well, who's on the cusp, who's not doing really well this year, or this month.
Right.
All that kind of stuff you have access to.
Right. Exactly. I think it benefits, as I said, it benefits her. And it allows me access to some information to people that maybe I would have never known.
Sure.
As you and I know, never meeting personally, this is about the best that we can get right now. But it's a perfect opportunity to at least introduce ourselves to some like ideas that we have, or interests, or those types of things. And I find that same thing with the women that I interact with, and it's really been beneficial for both parties, I think.
That's really neat. So, what would you say, maybe early on, or even now, what some of the challenges that you've maybe recognized as an outsider, kind of looking in? What are some of the things maybe that, and I know you've addressed a little bit already, of some of the support that just doesn't exist, which I think is a really big deal.
Right.
What are some of the other things that you've recognized or noticed that are either challenges, either from your perspective or from Jen's perspective, or maybe even that you kind of see from outside looking into a relationship, say, between her and Dustin or something like that?
Well, I'll start by saying, when Jen started her business, and this was even up to as recently as 6 months ago, she started with a cell phone, smartphone, no computer, and no Wi-Fi. So they were limited on their data every month. To say that she was able to achieve exclusive Black status under those conditions is pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
I'm certain that she's not the only person in the world that has gone through that. So those are obviously challenges that everyone could potentially face. Personally, for me, the challenge that I have, because I take such a personal interest in every story that I get to know, I want to be right there face to face to help them through any challenges that they can do, be at their team meetings, be at their team dinners, things that may help promote and have them see from someone on the outside that, hey, people believe in you, even though they may not be right there to tell you that. And not being able to be there face to face, maybe one of the biggest obstacles that I see for myself.
Yeah. So with those that are local, I know you mentioned some of the dinners or meetings and things like that. So you guys have a pretty tight group from what I've seen from the outside. I think there's some that are more local. So what are some of those things that you do actually in person?
Well, as of right now, none, because I'm in Jacksonville,
Okay.
where I
Oh, that's right. You're in Jacksonville.
yeah,
Yeah.
where I don't. But prior to that, and I'll give kudos out to the entire team: Kylie Rigler, who's a Black Status 1, Megan Dashley, Black Status 1, Christina McKeon, going to be a Black Status 1 very shortly, I'm sure, and then my daughter, who is a Black Status, and everyone underneath, all of the team, they all gel together perfectly. To give you an example, when I went home a couple of months ago to visit my family, I got the rental car at the airport. Before I even made it to my daughter's house or to see my mom and dad or to see my son, I stopped at Megan and Jeremy's house. And they had a few people that were there that were presenters that I had never met. And it was a part of a way to just get introduced to them and let them know that, hey, I'm there for them. And I think they know that now, but that just shows how close knit everyone is.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's very cool. So, I guess some of the things too, I think specifically as far as so what are some of the things specifically? I know you mentioned, do some of the daily kind of motivational things and stepping into some of the groups. Are there other things maybe that you feel like have worked better than others? Have you tried things that didn't go so well? Or, what would, like if you were talking to somebody else that's out there, whether they're a dad or a mom or a brother or a sister or a husband or whatever, any thoughts that you might say, hey, this one worked really well, or this one didn't work so hot?
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of instances actually where, I had contacted some ladies to maybe motivate them a little sooner than I should have, because they hadn't been around long enough to know who I was, and their obvious question is, what's this guy doing contacting me on Facebook?
Right.
And so I pretty much, unless they've already contacted me and established some sort of Facebook friendship, I won't contact a white status or most yellow status presenters, and it's not because I don't want to help. It's just I don't want to overwhelm them or intimidate them.
Sure, that's a good point. Very good point. What have you seen? Just as you've kind of gone through and seeing all this stuff. I mean, what would you see are some of the benefits of just being involved both on your end, but also on your daughter and son-in-law and the whole group there, as far as what the benefits have come to be?
Well, the first thing I'll tell you is that obviously, and we talked about this before, this is primarily a female business,
sure,
for obvious reasons, but it's one of those things that had I known what I know now 3 years ago, I would have sure given it a shot. I mean, it's just one of those things where, and I don't want you to take that the wrong way, but it's never too late to start.
Sure.
But, to see where my daughter has climbed to, and some of these other girls, I mean, when Jen came to me and said she wanted to start, obviously she was a white status, and Christina may have been a yellow or a pink, and I think Megan was a blue. And to see where they've gone now, some of the girls that are coming in, or some of the naysayers that the presenters may face as part of the negativity of this entire thing, are people saying, why are you getting involved in something that it's never going to work? I can tell you that it works because I've seen it firsthand. Right. That's why I'm involved to the level that I am. Had it not worked, I would have been the first person to tell my daughter, it's time to get out. and I wouldn't have helped, to get to this point. But it is a fantastic, fantastic organization. Corporate has a motto: the uplift, empower, and validate. The unique foundation, everything that they stand for is top notch, and they'll have my full support for forever.
And that's awesome. And I think you're right. I think the company itself and finding your passion and seeing the success and for those that have watched before, you've heard me say this, but the idea whenever Ann got involved in this was it was just another one, right? She'd been involved in some other network marketing, and so this was, to me, it was just kind of another step, right? Just kind of doing a new thing. The other one kind of gotten through. But when she found Unique in particular, and for those that are out there that aren't necessarily Unique folks, I think it is just find that one, find something that works, and jump all in. And it really does. It makes a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, I'll tell you that I think that it's a numbers game. You have no choice but to contact at least 10 to 15 people a day. You owe it to yourself to do that. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that I'll never say that a college degree isn't worth anything, because you work hard for those 4 years to get that diploma that's going to help you get the piece of paper to go out and get the job. But right there is where the Unique kind of transcends, because instead of making money for someone else because of that piece of paper, you could have spent that initial 4 years of time building your business to a point where you're receiving residual income that's going to benefit you for the rest of your life. Right. And you won't have to worry about making anybody else the money, because you and the team underneath you are all working together. And as I said, there's just nothing better than seeing that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that's, I think as a whole, I think us as a country are starting to realize not just, a lot of what's come is to do with trades and, is college really the absolute only option and things like that. But I think, with the trades into your schools and even jumping into something like this, my daughter started selling Unique 8 or 9 months ago.
Okay,
and
great.
She's 19, almost 20, not currently in school, but going through this and doing some other network marketing stuff with Beachbody on Demand and things like that. So she's kind of she's found a passion there and really enjoys working with the team and with people, and she's still kind of trying to figure things out. So I think that's also, like you said, is college is not the only option, but it's not that you can't do both, right? I mean, you can certainly do both, because things like this, and that's the beauty of the flexibility of network marketing and direct sales, is that you do have that flexibility to do it, whether you're a full-time mom, full-time worker, full-time college student, or none of the above, and you just want to do this full-time. So there's a lot of flexibility there for sure.
Right. I did want to say that, there are a couple of girls out there who fall into that same mold that you just talked about, that are in Jen's team and other teams. And that's the other thing as well, is I'm just not here to support Jen's team. I support Megan's team. I support Christina's team. I'm friends with a lot of the presenters there as well. And I've gotten some messages from some that really supports what I'm trying to do. And I'll give you an example of that. I buy a decent amount of product, and my wife greatly benefits from that. but she doesn't use it all. So I take the excess, compile it all, and develop incentive giveaways and things that can further motivate some of the presenters to do things. I've also done some, I'll buy directly from some of the other presenters, just in an effort to get them over that hump that, maybe they may be feeling a little stressed or they're not moving. I want to just show them that it just takes work and you can do it. And that's worked out really well for me as well. So I'm kind of doing that. I did want to mention that I had an incentive for the middle of this month, because we all know the middle of the month is the time when maybe it's the most stagnant. And we're at a time where live videos is the things to do. Imagine that. We're doing that right now,
Right.
right?
Go figure. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I feel like they need to get out of their comfort zone. If they're new to the company, they need to get out there and see what that's like. So I made an incentive that between the 10th and the 20th, let's get out there and put in as many videos as you can, live videos, tag me in them, and we'll put everyone in for a drawing. That resulted in over 150 videos being pushed out on Facebook Live, which I'm extremely proud of because I know that some of the girls' businesses really took off.
That's cool.
And again, I won't mention any names, but there's one, and you know who you are, started 3.5 weeks ago, and she is pushing for green right now.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome.
It works, guys. You just have to work it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that kind of a numbers game, and just from a specific standpoint. I know you and I spoke a little bit the other night about, sometimes a team gets stuck, and there's or not just a team, but individuals get stuck, and you've mentioned here a little bit too that 10 to 15 a day or those kind of things. I mean, where do you feel like is the I guess two questions will come out of that. One is, where do you think is that, does that level happen? What's too much versus too little? And then the other question might be, what are how are the ways that you feel is a good thing to reach out? Like how to start that conversation maybe?
Well, I don't know that there's necessarily ever a too much. I will say that you obviously don't want to inundate one individual and bombard them with emails and texts to the point where they feel like you're harassing them.
Right.
Never would I advocate that. But as I said, you need to at least make an effort to pick 10 to 15 people every day to contact. It doesn't matter what method it is. You just need to do it. And if you can establish a friendship with one person, maybe that person's got 10 or 15 friends that may be interested. It's all a big tree, and you need to be able to expose all of that so you can do it. And then the other thing, I'm sorry, what was the second?
Just asked about the question about how, what are some of the messaging or some of the ways, tactically that you feel have worked?
Right. Well, I'll tell you that, there are some ways that are proven to work perfectly and some that aren't. At one time, parties was a really big thing. It kind of went away for a little bit. Now I'm seeing it come back. I really think that whether you do those parties online or in person, you are potentially exposing yourself to several women that you haven't had contact with before. And the good thing about the online parties is there's really no pressure. The person that's going to be hosting the party isn't doing any of the work. It's the presenter that's putting everything out there. The only thing the host is doing is standing a chance to benefit gaining free makeup. If they see that it works well, that may generate a new presenter for the host. So, right. I mean, it really is a win-win situation.
Yeah.
And anybody that I come in contact with, obviously, I will discuss the business with, because I feel like I'm at a point now where my knowledge is such that I can speak kind of intelligently to it, But it's one of those things that I think you just have to take the situation as it comes to make the decision on whether it's right or not.
Yeah, find what works for you and
right.
Put that in place. So from if you look at from the outside, so I know we just talked a little bit about, specifically for somebody that's in the business doing their thing. What are some suggestions that you may have for us on the other side of the selfie, right? Those of us that are the husbands and boyfriends and dads, moms, sisters, brothers, cousins, friends, whatever. What do you think are some ideas that we can do in order to support those that we see that are trying to go out on their own and do something like this?
Well, first of all, let me start that by giving a shout out and some kudos to you for this particular channel, plus the mission work that you do in Haiti. I think that's fantastic stuff.
Appreciate it.
Husband of the Year, Husbands of Unique Facebook page run by Sheldon and Kai, I think is exposing the men to the other side of the selfie. Honestly, I think that they're beginning to see how they can help their significant others or spouses in growing their business, because we as men do have an opportunity to do that. And I would say the same thing for the Boss Babes bosses. That's Jeremy Dashley and Jesse McKeon. These guys put in a ton of effort to make this whole thing go. And at the beginning, when I first got started in this, I didn't know that the male involvement side of things would be so significant. But now the men I see, there's examples of they'll have their wives' business cards with them and leave them with their contacts so they could give it to their wives, leave them in restaurants or whatever the case may be. There's just no end to how you can promote the business. And by adding the husband to it, you're increasing the potential contacts on the outside 50%.
Right. Right.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'll give myself a little plug too. One of the things that I've started doing, and I have a separate company called Rhino Shirts, RHNOshirts.com, and we sell T-shirts that are specific. We sell all kinds of T-shirts, both unique and otherwise, and whatever. But I've started to make some of those shirts that are for the husband. So it says, supporting my wife's makeup business, or my wife is a lash boss, or things like that. So we've got some T-shirts. Oh, look at there, YDad. Yeah, nice. Yeah, so I think doing that kind of thing, because then I get people all the time that say, well, what is your wife's business, right? Just because I'm wearing a shirt or a sweatshirt or
exactly.
have a cup or something like that. So I think those types of things, and like I said, I've tried to push that through Rhino Shirts, is to try to make it such that it gives exposure. It's not something that maybe the guys think about all the time, because it's like, a shirt's a shirt, but you're wearing something, you might as well have something that's gonna push it.
Exactly right. I mean, you saw the shirt, and I went out and I don't have a shirt business at this time, but I wanted to go out and be able to promote somehow. So I had these shirts made. I'm drinking right now out of a Boss Babes Tervis. So it's just you do what you have to do, and there's some things that I potentially have lined up in the future that I'm not ready to really reveal yet, but just keep an eye out on my page, and there'll be some things that potentially may be of interest to some people. So,
awesome.
We all grow in this business together, and I'm convinced that Unique is here to stay long term. So those that have made the decision to join, I think it's fantastic. I will say that as I told you when we had our pre-call. My wife and I right now currently are planning to be in Cancun for the incentive trip in October. I fully believe, obviously I'll be paying for that myself, but I fully believe that the people that I witnessed to get to that point, I want to watch them celebrate, because they truly deserve it. And I like nothing more than to meet everyone that I come in contact with, which brings up June 9th, the Boss Babes Empower to Succeed training in Cincinnati. There's still tickets available for that for those that are in the area that may want to go.
Awesome.
There's about 5 or 6 guys that are actually a part of a men's panel that will be speaking there as well. So Megan does a great job of incorporating the men in her business, and I think it's a great thing.
That's cool. Will you be there on June 9th?
I will.
Awesome.
And I encourage any of you that are attending, come up and don't be shy, shake my hand, and I'd be happy to meet you.
That's very cool. Well, cool. As we wrap it up, Brian, if you have kind of one maybe nugget or lesson learned, or something to kind of close us out with, something maybe that you would say, hey, as the the person on the other side of the selfie, like I said, whether you're a dad or whether you're a husband, what would be that kind of that little nugget or piece of advice you'd give?
I can tell you because I've seen it. Don't give up, ladies. You have to continue on. You may come to a point in your business where you feel like no one's responding to me. I'm only getting negativity. I'm losing friends. Things aren't working out. All these things that happen, but you have to keep pushing forward, because who knows if you're this far from breaking through to the next level. You have no choice but to move forward. If you decide to quit, you're starting all over again. It doesn't make sense to do that. So my advice is to continue moving forward, be confident, be consistent, and just work your business hard.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks, Brian. Appreciate you coming out tonight. And everybody who's still watching with us, or if you're watching this in replay, please share, please get the word out. I mean, what we're trying to do here is show love, show support for those that we care most about, those people in our lives that are involved in this stuff and they're trying to make it at it. So whether they're at the, at the entry level of any kind of network marketing, or they're at the top, they still need our support. So whatever we can do to help, that's what we're here for. So check out othersideoftheselfie.com. Check out YDad on Facebook, and hopefully we can have another conversation. Maybe we'll meet in person in Cancun, possibly.
That would be fantastic. Don't forget to hit the hashtag replay if you're seeing this on the replay.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate your time. Have a good evening. Thanks everybody,
guys,
for watching.
All right. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye.
Bye now.